Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Valerie, and we're at my home. Today we're going to do a review on the new Zooz Zen32 Z-Wave Scene Controller Switch.
Yeah,
Did I get all that
you
right?
got it right. There's a
All
lot
right.
of words, but
It
you
is.
got it right.
Zooz nicely sent us this little scene controller to test, so let me open it up and check out what's inside. One thing that's really great about Zooz and the smartest house that we love is that they have a lot of great directions. So there's about 3 or 4 different places here where they tell you how to get set up. So we've got a website here on the side. Need help with setup, you can send them an email. And right in here, there's all these scan codes, QR codes, for quick start guides depending on what hub you have. So these here are for SmartThings, Habitat, Vera, and Home Assistant. I know they support other Z-Wave hubs as well. But these are really great little tutorials you can scan so you can get started quickly. All right, there's a little cord.
All right, so this is so if you can connect the white wire to the switch.
Here's the user manual. In case you don't want to go on the web, they've got all the instructions here.
Yeah, and we're going to install this as a single switch, but it also works in a three-way. But if you do use it in a three-way, they have explicit instructions on how to do that. It's not kind of like other switches, so important to read those directions.
Okay. And it also says here on the side, if your Z-Wave hub supports Smart Start, you can scan the QR code and add the device to your Z-Wave network. So a lot of those newer Z-Wave hubs have something called Smart Start that makes it much easier to get set up with new devices. So this also supports that.
It looks like a typical smart switch. You got all the connections in the back, and there's actually a little warning thing that says take detailed pictures before disconnecting any wires. You know, I do that because if you ever want to switch it, go back, you want to know what you have. I also label all the wires as what they were, whether they're load or not. So that's important here. All the connections you need, neutral, ground, load, and line are on the switch, so all set. But on the front is really where the business end is. So there's a typical switch here for on-off, and the switch you wire it up to. But it also has 4 buttons over here that you can program as a scene controller. Now we're going to find out what that means in here. Like, is it press this, it executes one scene, or is it press it again and turn off that scene? And we don't know, so we're going to go do the installation and give it a test out. But if this works, it should be pretty neat, because that means we can put this, like, for example, in our bedroom and have it be like a master switch for the house, where we can control different places without having to go into the other rooms.
No, that's great.
So it should be pretty cool. So that's it. That's the Zooz Scene Controller, the Zen32 Scene Controller. It's a lot of words, isn't it? So,
for Z-Wave.
Yeah.
Now Mark's going to go ahead and install the scene controller, and then we'll come back and show you how it works.
Installing the switch physically is the same as most other smart switches. Be sure to read the instructions from Zooz, especially if you install this in a 3-way circuit. And, of course, turn off the power at the breaker before installing, and call an electrician if you aren't comfortable doing this yourself. We are replacing another brand of smart switch, and we had labeled the line and load. We had also already attached a white wire to the neutrals. So, if you are replacing a standard switch, you will need to add the white wire to the neutrals in the box, as this switch requires a neutral. And don't forget to attach the ground wire. One last thing to remember is that this Zooz switch requires load into load and line into line. They cannot be switched. Then, before you turn back on the power, screw in the switch, making sure to tuck in the wires and not force in the switch. Then, attach your wall plate and turn back on the power at the breaker. Try the big button and see if the light, or in our case, the fan, turns on. Now, you need to pair the switch to a hub. How you pair depends on the hub you are using. We use the SmartThings hub. Before you can pair the Zooz Scene Controller to SmartThings, at least as of this video, you'll need to install a couple of drivers into your SmartThings account. I'll add instructions at the end of this video so you can see how we did it. Zooz also has excellent instructions on their website. Okay, so we have the drivers installed. Now let's pair the Zooz Scene Controller in the SmartThings hub. Be sure to have the Z-Wave Smart Start QR code ready. It's on both the switch and the Zooz box. After you press the plus key, just select Devices, then the Scan QR code on the bottom left. Scan the smart QR code. When the display stops, click Start. Select the room for your switch. Press Next. SmartThings is waiting for you to press the Zooz top button 3 times quickly to enter Z-Wave pairing mode. Wait a while till you see all 4 scene controller buttons. You can rename them here or wait till later as we did. Press Done and you should see the 4 buttons in the room you selected. For some reason, the main button didn't end up in the room we selected, but in the No Room Assigned list at the bottom of the page. So we moved it to the room where it belongs. You'll notice that the 4 buttons are listed as standby until you give them an assignment. The Zooz Scene Controller switch should show the state of the physical switch. We renamed the switch right away. In our case, Master Bedroom Fan. We also tested that the app could turn it on. Next, let's assign a function to button 1. You can assign actions based on pressing the button, holding it, and pressing it 2, 3, 4, or 5 times. I think remembering all those variations might be difficult, especially over time, so we only assigned 2 actions. Select Pressed. You are presented with an if-then statement where you can add actions to the then. Pressing Add Action gives you a choice of controlling a device or running a scene. For this button, we select Run Scenes. If you define SmartThings scenes, they will be shown here. Select whichever scene or scenes you want. We selected Turn On Kitchen, which controls 3 of the light switches in our kitchen. Be sure to save. We then set up Pressed 2 times to let us turn off the kitchen lights. Follow the same process you used in Pressed. This time we selected the Turn Off Kitchen scene. When you save, notice the actions are listed under the button action. Oh, don't forget to rename the button from the default. You can change it anytime. Let's program one more button, and this button we'll use to turn on my nightstand light. Again, we select Pressed. When we add action, we select Control Devices. You get presented with all the devices this switch can control. You can sort them by room or alphabetically. You can select as many as you like. You'll notice controlling the devices are an on-off toggle, which is really handy and more natural than different button presses. So that's it, the switch is programmed. Let's see how button 1 works in the kitchen. We press it once and all 3 Z-Wave switches in the kitchen scene turn on. We press it with a quick double press and all the lights go off. With button 2, we only need to press it once and the light will toggle on, and press once again and the light goes off. And finally, we test the physical button to turn on the fan. Overall, we really liked the Zooz Zen32 scene controller. This is what we would expect a scene controller to do and more. You can control scenes, devices, or a combination. And with 6 ways to press the switch, you have a large number of capabilities with just 4 scene buttons. If you need to install the drivers for SmartThings, here is what we did using the instructions on Zooz website. If this is your first time installing drivers, don't worry, it just looks complicated. Just take your time. We recommend using a desktop browser to install the drivers. Go to the website shown here, click Login and then Samsung Account and log in. Click My Device Handlers. Using the instructions on the Zooz support page, copy the first driver's code. Then, click Create New Device Handler. Click From Code and paste in the code. Scroll down and click Create. Then click Publish, then For Me. Once it completes, go back to My Device Handlers. Copy the second driver code. Then, click Create New Device Handler. Click From Code and paste in the code. Scroll down and click Create, then click Publish, then For Me. Once it completes, click My Device Handlers and scroll down until you see the Zooz Device Handlers. Make sure there are 2 and that they are different from each other. They should look just like you see here. That's it. Now you can install the Zooz Zen32 scene controller in the SmartThings app.
Thanks for watching our video today. We've included more information about the product, including links where to buy in the description box below. And while you're there, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you can find out the next time we do a new video.
And for more smart home stories, visit appmyhome.com. Thank you.
Thank you.